Hi, everyone. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you for being here. I'm very pleased to briefly present the chapter Beth Wolniuk and I co-authored. So in our piece, we show that Canada took an important step in 2019 when it appointed its first ever WPS ambassador, Jacqueline O'Neill. So during her mandates, she played a key role advising ministers and coordinating the implementation of the national action plans on WPS across departmental partners. But her end of mandate in March 2025, without any replacement named so far, we argue has left a huge gap in Canada's WPS architecture, and it undermines Canada's credibility. It also risks losing momentum on a critical agenda during the very fragile times we are living in. In the chapter, we argue for rather two simple but critical points. So first, that the WPS ambassador role had a tangible impact. And second, that Canada urgently needs to reappoint a new one. To be effective, this person must bring expertise across the full range of WPS issues, not just one sector, such as the defense and security sector. And this person, future person, ideally would need to be solidly connected to Canadian civil society and able to mobilize political support and resources for the CNAP3 and future NAPs as well. Unfortunately, since we wrote the chapter, we think this urgency has deepened only further. So this week we learned that the Carney government has abolished the so-called Canada's feminist foreign policy. So this is a significant withdrawal from previous commitments, even if just symbolically, and it adds directly to the sense of backsliding and fragility that we described in the chapters. It shows even further how quickly gains can be reversed and how important it is to have a visible senior WPS leadership in moments like this. So let me just briefly outline the chapter's main points. So we argue that her term was path-breaking. Her role was not meant to be only symbolic and praise for Canada abroad. It was meant to drive action within the government. Ambassador O'Neill broke silos. She built coalitions, coordinated ministries, and brought in new actors like Veterans Affairs. Her work helped secure the renewal of the CNAP3 in 2023 and kept WPS visible on the political radar. She also set a high standard for accountability through quarterly meetings with, monthly meetings with feminist civil society via this network, the WPSNC network. She created one of the only regular structured space within the government where the government listened directly to practitioners, activists, and experts. So we think this legacy from Ambassador O'Neill of direct dialogue with civil society should not disappear. Her engagement with women peace builders, also in conflict-affected context, help amplify their voices in Canadian decision-making and in multilateral fora, including the UN Security Council. But despite all that, we show that there were structural limits that constrained her impact. The role, as you know, was advisory, so she could not set policies or allocate budget. Her office had also extremely limited programming budget, leaving flagship initiatives without substantial resources. And there were persistent gaps between Canada's stated WPS goal and its actual policy direction, for example, regarding Canada's role in aiding Israel's genocide in Gaza. But even with these constraints in mind, Beth and I, we are clear, our conclusion remains clear. Without an ambassador, the CNAP3 and future NAPs risk becoming rhetorical, fragmented, or deprioritized, as we can already see very visible signs of that in the Carney government, especially amid rising defense spendings and increasing militarization. So the WPS ambassadors, we think, plays a crucial watchdog role to ensure that feminist prevention and diplomatic approaches are not sidelined. So yeah, reappointing a WPS ambassador is not just a bureaucratic detail, it is indispensable. It is both practical and symbolic as well. And it is especially urgent, we think, at a time when the WPS agenda is under attack to reappoint a WPS ambassador. So we argue that the Carney government must act quickly, and as always, civil society is watching. So I'll stop there. Thank you.